just live every day like it's your last. Because you really don't know. Like, you just don't know when something's going to come along and take everything from you. And I was living like I was invincible. I was partying, and I was drinking, and I was out racing my car and just doing just dumb, irresponsible, reckless things. Because why not?
Yeah.
Like, was my answer at the time. Like, I was making enough money to pay my bills for a month and do what I wanted to do in order to struggle the next half of the next month until I made my money and could do it all over again. It's just like, I was just going nowhere. I was like,
going nowhere fast.
It's absolutely. I was on the fast track to nowhere.
Listen. All right. The energy here is amazing. How you feeling, bro?
A little nervous.
Why?
I'm camera shy. You know?
Okay, but you're a talkative person. Like, you
absolutely.
love to converse and have conversations. Even when we first met, you used to talk up a storm.
Absolutely.
You used to ask a lot of questions.
This questions. If you don't ask questions, you're not gonna learn anything.
Yeah.
It's what was it? Was it a Scottie Pippen quote or was it a? God, I can't remember. It was a Bulls quote. It was like, you miss like 1,000% of shots you don't take.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like you don't get any answers to questions you don't ask either.
Dope. I'm just going to start right away. Welcome back to the Fine Podcast. My mind just went blank. See? Welcome back to the Fine Podcast. Every week we invite interesting guests and we talk about defining moments and what defines them. Today I got my boy Isaac. Welcome to the show, Isaac.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely, man. You're a little bit nervous, but we're going to get through this.
Absolutely.
We're just going to have a good time. It's a conversation. I'll just bring extraordinary people and we talk about extraordinary things. Everybody has a defining moment in their life, and that's kind of like the meat and the potato of the show. But listen, I met you about 2 years ago.
Just what was it, summer 2019?
Yeah, I just had moved over here. Literally, you guys, the group you was a part of, that was the first group of people that I met. And it was a bunch of young teens, wild, crazy.
Crazy group of people to first meet when you moved to Ocala.
Yes, I thought that was what Ocala was about, but it's not, But then fast forward 2 years later, how is life? How's your mental health? How is life? How's this journey of life been for you?
Crazy. In one word, crazy.
Okay.
I'm married. I have a kid on the way. House, car, bills, like big boy things that I never wanted to have, but now I do. And I'm like, I can't take it back now.
Yeah.
It's like I miss those simple days of just coming home after school, playing some video games, eating dinner, going to sleep.
That's crazy because when you're younger, you want to be older. And when you're older, you want to be younger.
It's because being older comes with all those responsibilities you didn't realize you were going to have. Like, so you looked at your parents and like, dang, they do it so easily. It's a struggle. Yeah. It's a struggle in today's America to do anything easily by any definitional standard.
Facts. So you married, have a kid?
On the way.
Not
yet. Gonna have a daughter.
Wow. Congratulations to that, man. Yeah, I'm so glad that you left. You went to the Air Force and you left that group. Not to shame or bash anybody, but...
No, they were good people, and I wouldn't say they were bad people. It was just people who thought they knew better, who thought they were invincible.
Yeah.
We know a few of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the biggest problem with a group like that is, as we were speaking earlier, is like in a group where there's no repercussions, everyone's always trying to step up the next one. And meeting a group like that when you first come, it's got to be somewhat of a head scratcher.
Right. But I knew because I was much older than, the people that was a part of that group. It was a sense of validation everybody was looking for. Everybody was trying to up one on everyone.
What do you think that comes from? Like that need of validation. Do you comes from like not having it as a child or just?
I believe so. I believe there's some type of void everybody's trying to fill. Even if you got everything, there's something most of the time that when you don't find, you look for within people. Like for instance, I grew up, and I'm just speaking hypothetically. Let's say I grew up a single mom, which I did, and I was missing a dad. I will kind of look for those qualities in other people, right? Not to be with physically, but I will look for friends that would have that quality, like that can teach me and guide me and mentor me and stuff like that. It's crazy I said that because this is like my mentor. This is like my coach right now, and he's been leading me the right way. But it's that. I seen a lot of that. I heard a couple of people's story, and I'm like, shit. Everybody has a story, and everybody has a defining moment. So that begs the question: what is your defining moment?
20 short years of life. What would it be? I'd have to say the passing of our mutual friend Dusty. He Air Force, went, left, came back, wasn't in the Air Force anymore, got a job here, joins the car group. Like I said, nothing, no consequences, no repercussions. It's like who can top the next one, and as we unfortunately know, passed away.
Yeah.
And that for me was like, okay, I need to get away from Ocala. I was signed up for the Air Force. I was in a DEP program. At the same time that I was there, I was also going to try the fire academy. My older brother's a firefighter. And I was in the midst of all that, like deciding, all right, do I want to go to school and be a firefighter? Do I want to go to the military? My adoptive father, he's ex-Navy. My aunt is 28 years retired Air Force. My uncle was a combat MOS in the Army. It's like I had all these different people telling me that, like, you need to get away. You don't know the world until you see different parts of it. And that was kind of like, that was my defining moment. I was like, all right, I need to do it, and I need to do it for something, so why not do it for him?
Absolutely. I agree, man. That quote that you just said, man, you don't know the world until you actually go see the world. The world is huge, it's beautiful, and some of the things we complain about and take for granted, people on the other side of the world don't even have access to that.
Absolutely.
Which is just insane. But yes, I'm so glad you left that. And a question that I have is that your passion? Did you do that just to get away, to get that experience, to get a paycheck, or like what are your passions? Because before we started recording, you like UFC, you that guy, you want to get in the ring.
I love the getting in the military. It was something that I always thought I could see myself doing. And I went to a military school for 3 years, and then I went to a boarding academy to finish off my high school education. After I graduated there, that's when I came back and got into the car scene. I always liked cars. One of the first movies that I adamantly remember watching over and over and over and over again was Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. I've absolutely, anytime I've ever got a chance to work on one, I did. I've always loved UFC. I'd say the first time I really got into it, I was watching the Conor McGregor versus Chad Mendes fight. And I think, was it 2014? And it was like the first time my parents had ever let me watch a fight, and it was because we were over at a friend's house and they had it on. And they were all like having it was like a work party or something like that. So they put the fight on just for the kids and like the younger people to watch. And I was like watching that fight, and I was like, this is something I could see. I mean, you have this guy who's coming over from a different part of the world in Conor McGregor. I mean, you literally have a whole country behind this man. It was the first Irishman to be a two-time world champion. And he gets in the ring with like a guy that say, oh, for sure he's going to beat him. Here you got Chad Mendes, who is a championship level wrestler. NCAA wrestler. Like this guy knows what he's doing, and that fight was brutal. They only went 2 rounds of a 5-round fight, and he got picked up, slammed, elbowed in the face. They were covered in blood, and in the end of it, it's like
those be the best fights too, though.
Oh, absolutely. It was like I think it was like 15 seconds into the before the second round ended. Conor got up. He sprawled out on a takedown. Chad Mendes sprawled out, or tried to take him down. He sprawled out on a takedown, and he went. And then he kicked him in the stomach.
He's a show, man.
Kicked him in the stomach.
Conor is freaking insane, bro. I think he's one of the highest paid UFC fighters, right?
Yeah, he was on the Forbes list. I think last year, I think it was like $131 million or something one year.
But his record just, I think he lost the last 4 fights, 5 fights. He broke his whole shin.
He's like 2 and 3 in his last 5 or something like that. Something weird.
Yeah,
it's like.
Do you think he can come back for that? He's a showman, so no matter what, people are gonna watch.
Well, he's all right. So he's 35 years old right now. He had that injury, and after any injury like that, you're never the same. Chris Weidman broke his leg. Anderson Silva broke his leg against Chris Weidman. And he never was the same after that one. He lost like the last 8 fights of his career in the UFC. But now he's off in boxing. He's just piecing people up in boxing.
Yeah.
He fought Vitor Belfort. And Dana White was like, "There's no way that Vitor should be in a ring at that age with a guy like Anderson Silva."
Yeah.
And then Chris Weidman, who Anderson Silva broke his leg against Uriah Hill, a guy named Uriah Hill. And he hasn't been the same since. I think he's still recovering. And then Conor broke his against Dustin. And it's kind of crazy. There's a picture somewhere. Like, try to pull it up or something.
Yeah, a picture of
them all standing, everyone that's ever broken their leg. And there was like John Jones, who broke his toe, Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva, and Conor.
I think I've seen it. Yeah,
every single one of them's had that.
Yeah, it's insane, man. And then you see like Drake, Jake clowning Conor McGregor and everybody in the UFC.
I think guys.
What do you think about that? Because he's also a showman and he knows how to market to like the extreme.
Oh, absolutely.
And he uses like kind of like the 6'9" clout chasing.
I think guys like Jake Paul shouldn't think about getting in a ring with guys like Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he's a killer. But Jake has proved himself over and over.
I mean,
I'm not a hater at all. I actually love what the Pauls are doing. I actually like salute them and commend them for everything they have done. They literally switched their whole industry.
Absolutely, but let's look at what Jake has done. Jake fought.
He just started, bro. So we're gonna get into an argument right now because he just started. You can't name one UFC fighter or one boxer who's went from 0 to 100 that fast, right? He's fighting people that are experienced.
I can't remember who it was. It was a guy who was fighting. He had 7 pro fights. He knocked out Muhammad Ali.
Oh, really?
Look it up.
Yeah. So you can't compare the Muhammad Ali to...
let's look at what Jake has done. Jake fought a fellow YouTuber. Then he fought a 40-year-old retired NBA star who he had a 1.5 height advantage on. Then he fought...
From no boxing experience. You're talking about pro athletes.
But, all right, so this is
people that were in the Olympics, people that held the title for years.
This is when it gets interesting. Then he fought a guy in Ben Askren. All right, what has Ben Askren done? Now, I was watching Joe Rogan podcast, and I was explaining exactly how they explained it. I'm going to explain 2 guys to you right now, and I want you to tell me who you think would win in a fight. A championship NCAA wrestler who was a lightweight champion in Bellator, lightweight champion and won, and a top-ranked contender in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And you have over here, guy B, YouTube star.
Disney star.
Has fought 1 amateur and 2 professional fights against a retired boxer, or a retired NBA star, and just a fellow YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
He's only been training for 1 year. Who do you think will win?
I assume Ben Askren would have won.
All right, so now let me continue on that one. They're fighting in an area where the NCAA wrestler, championship level wrestler,
but he's different. So you're talking about
can't
like
use his most dangerous weapon.
Yeah, exactly wrestling, but it's a whole different vibe when you actually go and fight in front of thousands of people. You have the lights, the camera, all the action, all the noise around. I would say that because I studied that. I haven't done it, so I can't talk shit.
I think Ben Askren took a dive purposely. I think that.
Yeah, he was talking about it. Like he went on different like shows and was like, "I don't give a shit if he whips my ass." He probably will.
I think he did it intentionally and purposefully. I think that first hit in his mind, I think maybe he wanted to play it out a little bit, but I also think the thought was there. The first hit, he hits me with take a dive. I mean, he made $1.7 million in that fight or something like that. And
you get your ass kicked for $1.7 million?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I'd get my ass kicked for that.
You get in the ring with Conor?
Absolutely.
If someone offered
me 1.7 to get in the ring with Conor McGregor, I would say, where's that contract? Because all I got to do is take 1 hit and then fall on the ground, tap out.
So why haven't you gotten into the UFC? If that's something you're passionate about, like we talk about that, and your mood changes completely. Like you seem very adamant. Either one, get in the ring, or
I would like to. My wife is a very nervous individual.
Okay,
does not like to see me get hurt, so that was a big thing. And then I've also had some injuries in the last year: torn rotator cuff, torn quad tear. I've had quad tears, had meniscus tear, just from my job. I have a very physical job. So
what do you do in the Air Force?
I work with fuels, so I'm a fuel dispenser.
So you picking shit up all day long?
I'm picking fuel hoses up, driving around big trucks, refilling them, dragging hoses out to go refill up planes. Like the guys, you ever seen the guys?
Is that your dream job?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
So that refers back to my question. Like, so is this something you wanted to do just to get away and possibly have experience and travel the world?
Yes and
or
no.
was it the decision based on your environment? Because usually people make those decisions based on their environment.
So I've always said in two ways. I heavily regret my decision to join the Air Force because I wish that I just would have looked at it a little bit differently, because I looked at it as an escape. I looked at it as like, okay, I've gone to a boarding academy, I've gone to a military school. That's the next step up. Like, obviously, that's where I need to put my life to be successful. I was successful in those two ventures, so why not this one? And I have been successful so far, but it's like it's come at the price of like being miserable the whole time. Because like in the military, unless it's something absolutely positively what you wanted to do, you're just not going to be happy with it. And that wasn't my passion. I thought it was, because I'd never known anything different. All my life, I'd like watched all the military shows. Like I'd watch SEAL Team 6, and I was like, oh yeah, like I want to go in the military. I want to do something badass. I want to be something cool. My parents has always hyped me up, like, yeah, absolutely, that's what you need to do. That's what you should do. Like, you listen. That's what the environment you thrive in. Like, it couldn't have been any farther from the truth, because in a fake military environment where things aren't real world, yeah, I thrive in that, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, I go home and I'm like, oh, I'm not an airman, I'm not a soldier, I'm not anything. I'm just a guy who wears a uniform and goes to school. It's not until like you actually put the uniform on for real and they're like, okay, you need to do this, and this. This is how long you have to do it. Oh, also lives depend on it. You're like, oh, whoa. There's been some real world stuff ever since this Russia kicked off. They're like, all right, you need to put this fuel in this aircraft in this fast. By the way, it's real world. You need to get out there right now. And it's like, it's nerve-wracking. You either learn to love it and enjoy it. And like or love it or hate it. And there's parts of my jobs that absolutely like I love. I get to see really cool aircraft. I get to see really cool people, meet really cool and exotic people. But the same token, it's like, it's not something that I wanted to do long term. And going back into it, I just wish I would have looked at it a little bit differently. I wish I would have asked myself, am I doing this because I want to do this, or am I doing this because I need to get away from a town that sucks people in and drags people under if they don't do the right thing or get out in time? And I didn't ask myself that question. But the good part of that, I have a wife, I have a kid. The Air Force has given me a location that half the people that I know will never even go to. I'm living out in England. I can go see anything in Europe that I want with just like a plane ticket or a train ride away. I could go to Scotland, Ireland, Wales. I could go to Germany, Sweden, anywhere that I want to go in that area. I probably could, and very easily, very affordably as well, because I live there, and it's cheap. It's cheaper for me to take a flight from there to, like, if I want to go see something in Germany, or I want to if I want to go see the Eiffel Tower, it's like a 63-pound flight, or like $70 or $80 for me to fly somewhere and get a boat ferry or a train or anything like that. If I want to fly from Florida to Paris, it's going to cost me almost $2,000.
Yeah.
And I got over there for free. The military got me over there for free.
Right.
And I've met incredible friends. I've met incredible people. I've done and seen things that some people will never ever get to see in their entire life. I've gotten to like refill an Osprey, which is it's a VTOL. So it's like a helicopter. It's got two propellers that come up to lift it up in the air, and then
is that like new technology, or
they've been around for a little bit, but it lifts it up in the air, and then the rotors rotate on an axis, and it turns into a plane.
Oh, that's crazy.
And so I've gotten to like fuel one of those at night while another one is flying in, and there's like special forces guys running around you because they're doing something real world on it. And
are those like awe moments? Like, yeah. Wow, like I'm amazed. So there is some good benefits.
There's absolutely good stuff, I guess.
But so what I'm trying to get at is, oftentimes when people are against the wall, they feel like they don't have an option. The option that they choose is the military as a sense of security. And then they get into it and they find out that it's miserable. You may meet some people, you gain experience, and then you come out, and then what?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's always so miserable. It's just what you make out of it.
And I love the way you think. I love that optimistic mindset. Because a lot of people were like, fuck that, screw that. They're going to talk down upon the military and stuff like that. But you're not. You're making the best of it. And you quite literally got the best thing out of it. You got a child, a wife. You started a family.
I don't even pay for the house. The Air Force does. It's great.
Are you planning on staying over there?
If I can, maybe. She doesn't like the idea of moving to America. Like, British. How it's played over America is, or in Britain.
She lives over there.
She's British.
What?
She's a British citizen.
Talk to me. How did that happen, bro?
We met at a bar on base. She's friends with someone. We weren't even, like, neither one of us was supposed to be. The craziest way this has ever worked out. So I was sitting at home. It was sometime in July. I can't remember exactly the date. July of last year. And this tell you how crazy things move, like when you're in love and when you realize you found the person for you. So I was sitting at home.
I'm going to clip that 10 years from now. No, I wish you the best of luck. I don't even want to put that type of energy out. I do that to fuck with you.
Yeah, I was just sitting in my dorm room, or it was actually the day room. I was sitting in the day room. I had just gotten a new video game, and I was just drinking some Twisted Tea, playing some video games, and listening to country music. I was like, this is the most Florida I can get right now. And one of my buddies came in. He's like, hey, we're going to go on the bar on base. They have like karaoke night or something, and we're going to drink and hang out and eat some food. I was like, you guys can do that. That sounds like fun. Like, I'm chilling. He's like, now you don't have a choice. Like, you can either come with us, or like 4 of us are going to come in here, pick you up, and drag you there. And I was like, fuck it. All right, I go. And then on the other side, literally less than a mile away, unknowing to me, there was her and her friend sitting at a friend's house, and her friend was dating an American at that time. And her boyfriend came home and was like, hey, like, I'm going to go on base and hang out with my friends. Do you guys want to come with? We're going to go to the G Club. They were like, yeah, sure, all right. They'd been drinking. They didn't really do anything that night, so they were like, yeah, we'll go on base. So they come on base, and they're in the G Club, and I'm there at the same time. Completely, like, neither one of us supposed to be out, nothing. So I see her and her friend when she walks in. I was like, that girl is beautiful. Can I pull a picture and show you?
Yeah, sure.
And I see her, and I'm like, that girl is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I need to know that.
You
girl.
really love her to even like take your phone out and be like, yo, I wanna show her off to the world.
Let me show you how.
Shout out to your wifey, man. Yeah, you got lucked up on that one, brother.
She is absolutely gorgeous.
So you got married over there?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. My boy. So how long you guys been married? You're only 20, right?
Only 20.
You're making big moves. You don't feel like life is moving too fast at times?
Oh, absolutely. Every day I feel like my life is moving too fast. Like, it was only yesterday that I was freaking 18-year-old punk kid. I was doing nothing. I just graduated high school and working lawn care.
Wow.
It's like life will move by in an instant if you're too busy living it. Like, if you're too busy making a living, you'll never have a life.
Ooh. Is that part of the reason why you're shaky about the military? Because now you do have a wife and a family, and you want to spend more time with them, and you don't have that freedom?
It's almost kind of like this backhand thing. It's like, I actually don't hate the military. I don't hate any of the opportunities they've given us. I will say, like, yeah, I've been miserable in the military, and I would, like, highly caution anyone that listens to this or anyone that ever sees a clip of this, like, truly think if the military is what you want to do or if it's something, like, you need to do.
Yeah.
Like any other thing in life. Like, just think, all right, in 10 years, am I going to look back on this and be, like, regretful of my decision that I didn't do something else? And obviously we need people to serve in our armed forces and everything like that, but
there's people that are really passionate.
There's people that are really passionate, and then there's guys like me that kind of felt like they had no other option, and that was the best thing for them. And that's how I will equate the military. Like, I had hyped myself up for so long, thinking like it was the thing that I needed, that when the time came for me to sign on the dotted line, I was like, all right, I could go to Fire Academy and stay here in Ocala and live a pretty reasonable life, and maybe.
But do you want that? Do you want just a reasonable life? Because, speaking to you, you look like you have aspirations, dreams, passions.
10 years from now, I want a big house and a fast car and my wife and my daughter and hopefully a son, of course.
Yeah.
And I want to say, like, we made it. And that's where, like, my dream with, like MMA and stuff is stuff like that. It's like, that's my true passion, like MMA and cars. I love both. And it took me, like, going to the military and, like, being able to train in the gym with, like, professional fighters. Like, one of the guys I I train with over there. He fights over there. His name is Jimmy Fell, and he was a Cage Warriors featherweight and Cage Warriors a Southeast featherweight and lightweight champion, and he just transitioned into the pros. And it's like training with guys like that made me realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and they're bad motherfuckers. They are absolutely they're absolute killers. And it was training with those guys and like also having like some really cool cars since I've been over there that made me realize those are my passions. Like the military is just like an avenue to reach those guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's just a vehicle for right now. It's temporarily. It's good that you see that now. So when you finish with that, how long do you have left?
I think like 4 years now. I'm 2 into the enlistment.
You have 4 more years?
No, I'm 2.5 into the enlistment. I've been gone from here for 2.
Imagine if you would have just focused on the thing that you love. Where would you be in 6 years?
If I had focused on the thing that I loved, I would never have met my wife.
Yeah.
I would not have a child on the way right now. I wouldn't have gotten over to the UK. Would have missed out on a lot of really cool opportunities, but I'd probably be like in some underground stadium somewhere or some like low-level MMA organization, grinding my ass off, driving all over the United States for burner and heat fights to try and make it on the big scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how you think, bro. You optimistic to that situation. You understand you are living your process. This is all a part of the end game.
It's because like I can't, because if I look at it and say I don't enjoy being in the military, but I'm in there anyway, it would bring that thought process into my head of like,
I think it's just some more freedom that you want, the freedom, because it has good benefits. You just said the best things that you can possibly gain
and
from
it's
that.
like I don't want to just completely dump on the military because without it,
they're watching. They're gonna kick your ass out.
without it, I wouldn't like have some of the things that I have now,
and even the mindset I seen. I've met you a couple of times, 2 years ago, and you weren't thinking the way you think now. So it's kind of forming that mindset that you have.
I think what it was the fact that I hadn't had that opportunity to grow and change yet.
Why you think that?
I lived in Ocala all my life. I lived in just like I said earlier, this like small town with big town vibes. It's the best way I can describe it because you have all the things that a big.
That's a fact. You heard that? Small town with big town vibes.
You have all the things that a big town would need, and all the things that a small town has. There's a distinct line between them, and I had the same friends that I was hanging out with in elementary school were the same ones I was hanging out in middle school with, the same ones I was hanging out in high school with.
Yeah, you need to change. You need to break that cycle.
You have to break out of it because if you don't, you're just gonna be 30 years old working a job at like Sam's Club or CVS and going to night school.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of those people that do that because
but that's not what you want to do.
That's not what I want to do. There's nothing wrong with doing it, but it's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I would say all in all, if I incorporated it into one sentence, I don't regret joining the military because if I hadn't, I would still be here doing something that I didn't want to do necessarily just because I would be doing it because I had to. I would be doing it so I could pay my bills, pay my rent, be with who I was at the time, and that's just not a reality for someone like me.
Right. So what are you doing now that's preparing you for the next 5 years? Like what are some of the dudes, the mindset, the hanging around different people? Because you felt sheltered and cornered into your environment. And that's kind of the reason why you wanted to depart and just leave and kind of get a reset. And I think we all need that sometimes. I seen a quote or a meme talking about, the best thing to do when you're in your 20s is just leave the city. Leave the city you was like born or raised in and go find your way. And that's what you're doing right now. You're building a life.
Absolutely. I think something that I would impart on like me 2 years ago is to just live every day like it's your last. Because you really don't know. Like you just don't know when something's going to come along and take everything from you. And I was living like I was invincible. I was partying, and I was drinking, and I was out racing my car and just doing just dumb, irresponsible, reckless things because why not?
Yeah.
Like, was my answer at the time. Like, I was making enough money to pay my bills for a month and do what I wanted to do in order to struggle the next half of the next month until I made my money and could do it all over again. It's just like, I was just going nowhere. I was like,
going nowhere fast.
it's absolutely. I was on the fast track to nowhere.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I would definitely just tell myself not to live, or anyone at that age, not to live like you're invincible, because you're not.
Yeah.
You have to live every moment like it's your last, and then make the decisions based on that. Not be impulsive in your decision and thought process making, but be educated in it. Like, if I see something I want, or if I see something I want to do, or a certain part of my aspect of life, I'm going to change it. Like, I'll think for a moment, all right, how's this affect me? Or if it's like something monetary, do I have the money for this? Or if I do this, will I be short of something else? And then make your decision based on that. And not by any means be a procrastinator or be impulsive, but think of how every decision impacts you and the people around you before you make it. Then make your decision, while at the same time living like, all right, this is what I need to do today to be successful. But if I was gone tomorrow and I did this today, I'd want to be happy and clear and concise about it and be like, yeah, okay. That's just the decision making that I've come to be accustomed to. It's like, you can't walk.
Which, did I have it instantly, or was like a revelation, or because you weren't speaking like this at all when I first met you, and you kind of explained that. Did the military slow your brain down or your thought process to make you realize that you had to make these changes and shift?
The military, regardless of what your job is, everyone goes through boot camp. And I would say what started to make that change in my mind is when I went through boot camp. And like, I started realizing like, you have to work together as a team, or just shit just doesn't get done. And every time my MTIs or my drill instructors would come in and talk to us, they always talked about us like having that mindset, like, you need to be clear and concise of what you're thinking about. And they always would say, regardless of like what job you end up going to, like, you're always going to be airman. And one of my MTIs, he was a combat job before he came in, and he said the best advice that he could give us was like, you have to be clear and concise in your thought process because other lives could depend on it. And I equate that to the same thing what I just said, is not necessarily like other lives will depend on it, but the decisions you make will affect others.
Right.
Because I don't live in that mindset because I'm not in like one of those jobs or anything like that. I have to live more in the mindset of like, okay, if I make the decision, how will I affect my battle buddies, my wingmen around me? Or in my home life, if I make the decision, how is it going to affect me and my wife and our baby? Or in my personal life with my friends, it's like, all right, if I go out and drink with them, how could this affect us negatively? And just balance everything out.
And everything you do right now affects you 5 years from now.
Absolutely.
So keeping that mindset, I think it's sharp. I think you're on your way to where you want to be, in life. I think you're still learning. We all are, and because you're optimistic and you're open, and we talk about you watching podcasts, and it's like you're constantly studying. You're constantly maybe even emulating some of the things that
I study and I emulate to a degree.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
It's like everyone's unique. You can't be someone or something that you're not.
But I think success leaves clues. And I've read that so many times in books, and I hang out with a lot of successful people, and they're like, man, if I did it, just follow.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And we all playing follow the leader, believe it or not.
I agree with that too. I agree to it to the point, like, if someone sees something, always replicate, don't duplicate.
Yeah.
You can always replicate something. You can never duplicate something that's unique. So I feel like that's a good mindset. Like, if you're just starting out in the world and you're trying to make your way, you're trying to make your path, find someone that was successful, study what they've done, study how they ate, how they slept, if they worked out, study something.
You back on the UFC shit.
I don't necessarily.
It's stuck in your brain, even subconsciously.
I don't mean necessarily in that degree. It's like.
But that's what I'm saying. Subconsciously, that's just there. That's something that there's a fire or spark inside that, no matter what you do, is always going to result to that.
Yeah. So study how someone's successful. Like, what did they do like day to day, and how did that motivate them to bring them to be successful? It's like, all right, did they work out? Why did they work out? Did they work out for their physical reasons or their mental reasons? If they ate certain things, what was it? Was it to bring them clairvoyancy? Was it to bring them like a better mental mindset? How were they spiritually? I think studying all those things about like successful people is pertinent and important, because you can take those and apply it to your daily life. You can take any type of thing that you've learned from another person and apply it to your daily life and try and bring that and be more successful. But I don't think you should ever try and be another person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, define success. What does that mean to you? Right? Because that's subjective. My definition of success can be completely different.
I think
I want to impact millions of people. That's my success. What I leave, what I give people, my integrity, my ethics, my morals. That's all aligned with success.
If you were gone tomorrow, would you be happy with the life that you've lived so far?
Oh,
if you woke up tomorrow,
I think yeah, it would be unfortunate because it's so soon, but I'm on my way to greatness.
So would you be happy with the life that you've lived?
Probably, yeah.
Then you're successful.
Yeah.
In my mind, if you can sit down and think.
I think it's because I want to do more. And that's such an interesting topic to touch on. It's like because we always chasing this like fantasy. And sometimes we just got to reflect and be like, yeah, we made it.
Yeah, if you, I think if anyone is wondering like if they're successful or not, if you can, in my personal opinion is if you were gone tomorrow and you woke up and you were wherever you believed that you were going to go, would you, if in that moment, would you be happy about the life that you lived? If they could say yes, then I would say yeah. If you're successful, like me personally, I have traveled halfway across the world.
Talk your shit, boy.
I've joined the world's greatest Air Force. I have a beautiful, absolutely amazing wife who loves me very dearly. I have a child on the way. I've gotten to drive cool exotic cars. I've gotten to train with world-class athletes. I've gotten to meet cool and interesting people. I would say I'm successful.
You're a young adult with an old soul, no? Do you get that often? And that's not, I don't mean that in a bad way.
I always told myself I was born in the wrong era. I should have been born back in the 20s, man. Prohibition, everyone going out in tuxedos and dresses every night. The roaring 20s, that's where I should have been.
Yeah.
Slick with the slick back and all.
You got it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's dope. So what's next for you? What is next? Are you gonna actually move to the United States, or you plan on staying over there? How does that even work? You got married over there, so she would have become a U.S. citizen.
She has to go through the process that any other like person immigrating to the United States would have to go to. Being married to a service member makes it a little bit easier because a lot of services are like offered on base, so it'd be a lot more straightforward, a lot easier. But probably come back over here to the military and go to another base over here is where I want to see that happen. But because I was married over there, like you have to sign like extensions to contracts and you have to have retainability. So I could see myself staying there for quite a little bit longer.
What does your family feel about that?
They love it. My family loves the fact that I'm out of Florida. When I was talking about coming home on leave, they were like, don't do it. Don't come home. There's nothing.
Are they afraid you're going to go back to your old ways or?
No, they just told me like, there's just nothing here for me. Those were the words that my family kept echoing. It's like, there's nothing here from you. Like, you've gone, you've left, you've changed. People here haven't.
Yeah, I agree. But when I first moved over here, I was around the same crowd you were. And I thought that was what the city was about. I hated it for a long time. Every time I wanted to do something, I would leave the city. But then I was around the wrong people, right? Not quality people. I'm sorry. They weren't quality by any extent. They weren't high performing. They weren't just like intellectual and deep, and
a lot of them were just doing what they needed to do to survive. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they were going about it in the wrong ways with the drinking and driving. There was drug use in the group. There was just like this sense of like fiscal irresponsibility.
You've been gone 2 years and two members passed away.
2 members from that original group.
That sucks to even think about it. So young. You have such a long way.
One passed away, one.
Oh, yeah, right. One passed away. One took 2 lives because of, drinking and driving.
Yeah.
It's crazy how life comes full circle, right?
Alcohol and drugs and just any mind-altering experience just can in one night can just entirely structurally rearrange someone.
Your whole life, or for just drinking and being obnoxious and wild. Sometimes it's not even worth it.
No, it takes saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. It takes one fight. It takes one punch. You hit someone in the head, they get knocked out. They hit their head, boom, they're dead. That's all it takes sometimes. See it like that.
That applies to anything. We can get in the car and get into an accident. Do you think deep like that?
You
said something about like.
I think you can, but I think it's harmful to think like that too often, too much. Like if you're always constantly thinking about what could go wrong, you're gonna be way too busy.
It's like karma. Like you kind of call that like the law of attraction. Do you believe in that?
In some I can't say in some circumstances, not believe in all of them. I believe that if you speak something into the universe and believe it and see it in your eyes and do what you need to do to achieve it, you will. I believe that if I told you right now, I'm going to be a world champion in the UFC one day.
I was waiting why you haven't said that.
This guy. If I told you I'm going to be world UFC championship one day, and you said, all right, prove it. And then I did everything in my power. I got back in the gym. I started training with high-class guys, got a good coaching staff, did amateur and did it well, and that's all I focused on. That's all I just had that ferocity. This is what I'm going to do. And put everything to the side and everything in the back burner, yeah, absolutely, you'd achieve it. Because anyone can learn those skills. Anyone can be proficient and good with it. Everyone has a natural ability and a knack for something. Mm. But I think all of that gets taken away, and the law of attraction goes away if you're too busy sitting at home thinking about every little thing that could go wrong in your life.
The minute bull stuff, yeah. You kind of call that into your life, and that's also applied like in the law of attraction. But do you believe in a higher...
Absolutely. I believe in God.
Okay.
I would say I'm a religious person. I would also believe that I'm a very scientific person, and I look for reasoning and logic and everything. So I've read through the Bible, bits and pieces. I wouldn't say by any means I'm a scholar, but I do believe that Jesus died for our sins. I believe that.
So you're a Christian?
Yes. I believe that there's a higher power, absolutely. Like, I've seen too much shit and piss in the world and too much good to not believe that there's good and evil. Mm. I've seen some really bad things, but I've also seen some really good things. And there's too much bad and good for there not to be good and evil, if that makes any sense.
What is one thing that you learned that altered your mindset? An advice, an experience?
To that thought process?
In general. Because I think everything you have ever done and even every thought that you have ever had has led you here. And then just randomly you hit me up like, yo, I'm in the city. I want to come on the podcast. So it's things that are happening internally that are creating this path that you're on. What you think that may be? That was smooth, right?
I think if I had the answer to that, I would be the most knowledgeable person in the world. Because honestly,
But you're searching.
I'm searching.
You're searching. I can hear it in your voice and your demeanor, in the energy that you're putting out right now. But I also believe you can be a world champion, and we're gonna get back to that because every time I say something, you refer back to UFC, and I think that's a calling and a passion. Maybe you don't fight. Maybe you're a commentator. Maybe you do something with that aspect. But it looks like there's a burning desire there to whip somebody out.
There's something in there. I definitely want to get in a ring.
You don't want to be 80 years old thinking I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
No, not by any means. I need to within the next year of my life.
We're gonna clip that.
Within the next year of my life, I'm gonna have an amateur fight.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
At least one. Even if I go out there and get my ass whooped.
This is the greatest thing about having a podcast, that we can clip that and save it. And then a year and a half, I'll send it to you on a random day. Or you just eating shit at home or actually in a gym about to get your work on.
Get some work in.
Yeah. I think you have a lot of support too, right? Especially, you being in the military.
Yeah, my wife is like she's talked me out.
How did you balance that then?
Very hard.
Because you're new into this marriage.
Yeah. We got married in March. January, February, March. It's been April, May.
Everything is all
June. What is it, July right now? June?
April, bro.
April?
May.
It's May?
Yeah.
See, that's how...
We live in a fast lane.
That's how fast it goes through.
Yeah. We in May. So how do you balance that? You're still getting to know her, and she's getting to know you, right?
Yeah, we learned a lot about each other very quickly and went through some pretty rocky, rough patches at the start that most couples don't go through for years. And I think that's what structurally defined us. It's the fact that we went through some pretty crappy situations pretty quickly, and she was there for me while I was going through some stuff as well. And it just made us stronger in that regard. Like, I know I can trust her with anything. I know she can trust me with anything. And it's that trust and that value in that relationship that keeps us together.
That is dope. That is dope. I wish you a million years of marriage.
I appreciate it, man. I don't. She drives me wild. I love her to death, but that girl drives me wild.
But you love her, man. You love her. I can tell, man. The way you speak about her, your face glows, and you're in that prime stage.
Stop it. I think what it is for me is just the fact that she unconditionally loves me. Like, being adopted and everything, like, that was a big part of myself that I struggled with for a very long time. It was like, am I loved? Am I wanted? Like, was I given away because my parents didn't want me or because they couldn't have me or what was going on? And that was a part of my void for a long time. It was seeking that value in other people. And I would say she's given it to me, but, like, in all the ways that count and has mattered. Like, she tells me every day, you're loved and I loved you. I love you. And she tells me every day that I'm going to be an amazing father. And she tells me that I'm a great husband. And she just tells me all the things that I've needed to hear.
Is that your love language? Affirmations?
Affirmation and touch, I would say.
Yeah.
She'll just give me hugs out of nowhere sometimes. I'll just be sitting there. She'll come up and just give me a hug. I'm like, oh, I love this girl.
So you felt you was missing that?
I felt like I was missing a lot of that. And just not necessarily from growing up. I think, like we were talking about earlier, everyone has a void. And everyone will go through something that changes them or defines them or gives them something that they didn't know they needed or wanted, or will take something that they didn't know they needed. And being in that situation and being in that foster care and then being adopted, it gave me some of that, all right, someone wants me. But at the same token, like, it didn't answer a lot of questions. And to this day, I still don't have a lot of those answers of, like, why I was in foster care. Because I went in at such a young age, and it was a closed adoption. So I've always thought about maybe, now that I'm older, reaching out and seeing what was the situation leading up to that. But at the same token, I don't think I want to know. I don't think that it will do anything for me knowing, because there's always going to be that emptiness there. And I'm pretty much all the way healed and closed off to that. And, like, there's no point in reopening that wound, because what if it's an answer that I didn't want? Or what if something is said that just cuts even deeper than the original one? So I've just learned to love and accept, and to understand that she's with me because she loves me and nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Bro, you hit that one right on the nose, kid. There's a lot of people that are going through that have that experience, whether they were abandoned, went through foster care, got in trouble with the law. It's because there was some type of void they was trying to fill, and they was calling out for help.
Love and acceptance is a big thing.
Yeah.
For someone to grow up without love, it can just absolutely.
But you can grow up, with love and still not feel that.
Yeah.
Right? I became deaf when I was 13 years old. I thought it was the end of the world. And for years, I struggled with my identity. And I was loved like crazy through my mom. That's the reason I got through it. But within myself, it took me 15, almost 20 years to get over that hump. And it's because I was asking the wrong questions. And I said this on my partner's podcast. It's the wrong question. We're asking the wrong question. Heal first. And no matter what comes from that, it can't hurt you, because that wound is already healed and patched up.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to be afraid to go back. If you feel like you need to get answers, make sure you're asking the right questions.
I think what it is with that love thing is, I think someone can grow up with or without love and either be good or bad in both situations. I think whether or not you learn to love yourself learning to love yourself at an early age is a very, very crucial part of growing up for anyone, because if you never learn to love yourself, then you can never learn to love someone else, even if someone already loves you. And if you don't have some type of influence in your life that teaches you that, or if you're not able to learn that, it's just it just never ends up good. You end up people that like don't love themselves end up with broken marriages and broken family lives and just fractured realities of like what their life actually is. And that's where you see a lot of like the criminal system and a lot of the foster care system is filled with people that just don't know how to love, or people that have been hurt and never learn from it. And I'm not going to be one of those, I wouldn't say tree huggers, so I'm not going to be one of those people that stands up and says everyone in the world needs to love each other. Because the reality is that's just never going to happen. But I would say the most critical and important step that any young adult, or even no matter how old you are, anyone can make, is just learning to love yourself, so that you can learn to treat people and others with that like level of dignity and respect. And when I finally got to that part in my life.
So we need to talk about that. We can tell people to do something, but we have to direct them, right? You went through some crazy stuff, right? I can imagine, I love my mom, and to be able to experience what you have, and it could be vice versa. Imagine you becoming deaf. You probably won't know what to do either.
I have tinnitus in my right ear, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, I just woke up one day and I was like mute, like
that's crazy,
gone. So it was like a very scary moment in my life.
I can't imagine that. I have from my job, I have tinnitus in my right ear, and sometimes I wish I couldn't hear that ear. It's like, because it's always ringing.
Yeah.
And like
have you gotten checked out?
No, I have to. Thank you for reminding me. I put that in my notes.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna text you to check that shit out.
When I get back, you're like, hey, go to the doctor.
Yeah, that's a fact. But what I was trying to say is like, let's give. This is a time to give value, right? This is why I created this podcast. Is right. We want to bring incredible people that have stories and was able to face adversity and go around it, go over it, or just face it. So what are some things people can do that may have experienced what you have, which is abandonment, going to foster care, feeling that sense of void for a very long time, growing up, surrounding yourself around a bunch of clowns that have no direction, and also maybe going through the same experience as you and are lashing out in a way that makes them rational?
I think the first thing anyone needs to do in that situation, it's always the hardest thing, is before you learn to love, you've got to learn to forgive. Like, I forgive my birth parents for what they did to me and my siblings, because it put us in a lot of screwed up situations and screwed a lot of us up in just ways that aren't fair. But before I could learn to love myself, and before I could learn to treat others in that manner, and before I could learn to be a successful husband and have a wife and have a kid, I had to learn to like forgive them. And it doesn't mean I'll ever forget the fact that like when I was 3 years old, my parents were suddenly like, oh, we don't want you, we can't have you anymore. Or they put themselves in a position where I wasn't able to be with them. But I just had to learn to forgive them. I had to learn to be like, step back and think, all right, it is what it is. It's done, it's over, it happened. I'm in a way better position than I would have been with them.
That's great. So forgiving, that's hard for a lot of people. It's difficult. It's
because with forgiveness comes trust. And
once you break that trust, how do you forgive, right? It's something that you are doing internally.
Exactly.
You having those conversations with yourself.
You have to, in order to forgive someone, you have to, like, on some level or another, even if it's not even behind the most surface level of it, you have to learn to trust them in some way. Because, like I said, like without forgiveness, there's no trust, and without no trust, there's no forgiveness.
I see it in a quite a different way. I trust myself enough to know not to give you that power for you to do that to me again.
Absolutely, that as well. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I think that's where you at. It's like, yo, now I'm building my own. I'm creating my own. I'm gonna make sure that I don't follow that path.
Absolutely.
That literally is the blueprint of what not to do. And this is what I tell people all the time. Like, if you don't know what to do, look at the things you don't want to do and do the opposite.
You have to break away from that. You can't have a cycle start and let it continue. Like, you've got to break that cycle. You got to, all my birth siblings, I think only one of them, my oldest birth sibling, who's my half sister, She has a husband and a few kids, and they live in Virginia now, I believe. But my oldest, or my sister, are you ready to have a kicker at this one?
What's up?
You're about to laugh your head off. My sister is a adult model, ex OnlyFans star, and now currently living in Tampa, and she's has a son on the way, and I think. My biological brother, was institutionalized and in a mental facility, I think all the way up until he was like 16 or 17. No idea what he does. And then my other biological sister is married to a guy she knew for a month, and they have a couple of kids. And from what I understand, almost the three of them, not my oldest sister, but the three youngest ones.
You have a big family.
And then I have 4 adoptive siblings as well. And I'm the youngest in both. It's weird. It's strange. And the same, like, it goes the same order as well. I'm like the youngest sibling. And then it goes...
So you're just getting your ass beat up a lot.
And then a brother, and then a sister in terms of age. And both in both adoptive and biological families. Same amount of siblings, same order of of what they are too.
You was meant to go there.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'd like to think so is what I would say. I love my adoptive parents. They are my parents. Like, to me, I'm not adopted as far as I'm concerned. They were the ones who had me. Because they showed me that I could be loved first. And that was a very important step. I'm not saying by any means that I was an easy child to love growing up, because I know I was a dick in all the ways that mattered. But they showed me that, like, unconditional love existed, and no matter what, they supported me, even till now. Like, they FaceTime my wife and are texting her like, "Hey, can we send you guys babies?"
That must feel good.
Yeah,
that must feel good.
They love her. I told my wife, I was like, my mom has never, ever liked any girl that I've ever talked to or dated, and I was like, and she adores you. And my wife didn't believe it until my mom was like texting her links like, "Hey, do you want this for the baby? Do you want this for the house? Do you want this for the baby? Like, I can't wait to meet you guys. I'm so excited." And then I went over to my mom's house, so I've been home, and she had like custom printed out like Ohio State bibs with the name on it. And I was like, yeah.
So sweet. Is your wife down here too?
No, my wife is still in England. She's too pregnant to fly. Like, I had some family stuff that just came up, and I needed to come out here.
Yeah.
And she has her passport's out of date too, so she couldn't even overcome if she wanted to.
When do you go back?
Next week, the 18th.
That's a what? 18-hour flight or something?
9 hour.
9?
9 hour. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. The first time I ever flew over there, when I first got stationed there, we got me and my buddy who flew there together, who also were in the same tech school class. It was our first base, and we both got like upgraded to first class. And I was like, "Oh yeah, this is the life." So when I was getting on the plane, I was like, "Hey, can you guys I'm a service member. Can you upgrade?" And they're like, "Absolutely not." And I was like, "Hey, yo,
you be using that to your advantage?"
Absolutely. Every restaurant I've been home, "Hey, you guys have a military discount?" They're like, "Yes, we do." I was like, "Thank you." I told my dad the other day, I was like, "Thank me for my service." It's great.
Yeah, that's amazing, bro.
You got to take that lighthearted approach to it. You got to be like, "Oh, you guys got the active duty discount?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, I'm active duty. Let me use it."
That applies over there too?
To certain things, like on base, everything is discounted anyway because we're overseas on base. But certain like businesses around the base know that they cater to a lot of individuals that are American, so they'll offer UK Army and US Air Force benefits and US service member benefits.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's great. Like, you're being in another country that you don't even serve, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want a discount on your food?" And you're like, "Absolutely, I do." That's great. Wonderful. I appreciate it.
You like food, don't you?
Oh. It's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. For everyone listening out there, dad bods are the thing. They're cool.
You gained a dad bod from being over there.
Oh, absolutely. My wife's family, they're like, have you ever had that? No, obviously you haven't, but traditional UK dinner is like what we would consider a royalty over here. Like, every Sunday, they call it a Sunday roast. They do like roast beef, russet potatoes that are really like baked and fried, so they're all soft on the inside and all crunchy on the outside. Peas.
I'm hungry as shit too.
Oh my god! on here as we were talking earlier about like the UFC stuff. I was in my mind ordering on Uber Eats some Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I kid you not. I was like, I could be in this podcast eating a chicken sandwich right now. I am hungry.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm starved right now. So what is some of the traditions over there? You have to adjust to.
Yes, no. They have the weird thing called bank holidays. Every so often, like all the banks will close down for the day, and like all the businesses will close down for a day. It's kind of like you remember in middle school, like every month you'd have a half day.
Yeah.
On like the second Wednesday or something like that, and in high school as well. It's kind of like that. Like every so often they have bank holidays, so we get to take them off too.
Oh, that's amazing.
And like, I did not realize how many holidays that the U.S. government celebrated until I was in the military. And like every other month we get like 4-day weekends.
Wow.
Being in the Air Force is great on that end. Like you would not, I can't tell you how many times we had like 3-day or 4-day week. Probably in the last 6 months, I'd say at least twice a month I've had like a 3-day or a 4-day weekend because we were off a day, included the weekend, and then
paid,
like,
right?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm getting paid right now sitting here.
Talk your shit, boy. So you saving up for?
I'm trying. It's expensive. It's expensive.
It's expensive to live over?
Oh my God, yes. Their money is worth more than ours.
Yeah.
It's like $1.38 will make 1 pound over there. They do theirs in Great Britain pounds. It's expensive. It's not cheap.
And you make the same amount of money that you were making over here?
Yeah.
Is that feasible? Can you?
Well, now I make in a paycheck. I won't give you an exact.
Yeah. Don't do that.
But I would say.
But it's the average living cost similar to maybe Florida, Ocala.
My rent is like $1,100 a month or something like that.
That's not bad.
In pounds though.
Also, that's
yeah,
probably
but the
another
$50,
$60 more.
The military pays for it though.
So you living a good life. My boy was here bitching the whole time.
Like I said, it's not all bad, but it's just like I wish.
It's just that you feel like you made for more. I think that's what it is.
Absolutely.
You made for more.
Like yeah, it's cool to be in the military and like I don't ever have to worry about like they pay my utilities and they pay my rent. And I just got to show up.
So you just pocket all your money.
I just got to show up for work, and then the rest of my money that they pay me is for me. And the military's like, yeah, pretty much. And you're like,
you can do that forever. Are you gonna reassign when you're done with your contract?
I haven't made my mind up about it yet. Like if I go back over there and get back into MMA and start being
if you don't do MMA, is there something else you would like to do?
Firefighting. I'd like to do firefighting, or alternatively go to school for auto mechanics.
Okay.
That'd be.
Or be a podcast and talk about UFC. I'm pretty sure there's a niche for that.
Oh, absolutely. I got Joe Rogan. If you're out there and you see this, call me. Call me.
That motherfucker's not looking at this shit yet.
I will be your apprentice. I will email this podcast to you every day for the next year. Hire me.
You love Joe Rogan.
Oh, absolutely. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah, that bro. He's super wise. Like he speaks about all crazy
and super controversial too. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it when he's pissing people off. Like, please, that's just more enjoyment for me.
Yeah, I love like he's always comfortable in his own skin and not afraid to like share his opinions.
And like there was that video going around him
saying N-word.
Yeah, and it was.
But it was.
Then Israel Adesanya at the podcast, like he's like, "Oh, I love Joe Rogan. Get out of here with that BS." It's like he can say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, Izzy's defending him.
Yeah. Did you see Trump on Nelk Boys podcast?
Yeah, they banned it.
Yeah.
They took it down. That tells you something right there.
Yeah. Well, Elon just put out a tweet, I think yesterday, the day before, that if he gets in that position of Twitter.
Well, he bought it.
Yeah. Okay, so they said the worst thing Twitter ever did was banned him.
Yeah.
The most dangerous thing they ever did.
Excuse me. I think what it is, it's like Joe Rogan went on the Impulsive podcast, and they asked him that same question. He made a really good point. He's like, I don't care who you are. He's like, that's the 46th or 40th, I can't remember, like 45th president of the United States. It's like, you just can't do that. Like, he's like, I don't care who he is. It's like that censorship. It's like, are you censoring this person just purely because they don't believe the same thing that you believe? But at the same token, regardless of who they are, you just ban an ex-president of the United States of America from being on social media and that particular brand of social media. That is,
He's weird though. I mean,
he says some.
I'm not into politics, nothing like that, but he's very straightforward. And sometimes he just takes it overboard. And I think that was part of the reason why they banned him, is because he would lead people in dangerous directions.
I think not necessarily that he went overboard. I think he was just too straightforward. I think
we live in a sensitive time.
Yeah, it's okay to be straightforward, and it's okay to be blatant. Just blatant outright. This is what I believe in. If you don't believe in that, okay, cool. Like I'm not gonna shame you for not believing in it. I think people mistake for a difference in opinion for an attack on character. All the time. Just because I have a different opinion than you or him or anyone in the world doesn't mean necessarily that I'm attacking your character because I have those views. The same way you're not attacking my character having those views. It's when those opinions inspire people to do certain things that it starts to become a problem. Like whether or not you believe he started the Capitol riots or whatever, there was a group of people that were backing him that were a little bit more extreme in the ways that they backed him. And they took his words for an act of raid the Capitol. And that was a big thing. Is like, I know plenty of Trump supporters that are just like.
So that's why I say he was weird, because he would say things and wouldn't mean it in that way, and the people that his fans would take that literally.
Absolutely, it's always how you deliver something. Like you got to be so careful.
That's why he was banned. But that is dangerous, man. That's the Constitution, the freedom of speech, to be able to express yourself how you want. This was makes us the America the best country in the whole world.
Power.
Yeah,
it's power. When you give power like that to certain individuals, it goes to their. I wouldn't say it goes to their head, but it takes them to a different place. But in the same token, you could also play devil's advocate and be like, okay, like I said, like you could also play devil's advocate on that one on Twitter's part and be like, all right, Twitter is an independent organization. They have no constitutional, reason to not be able to ban whoever they want or take down any accounts that they want. And they've done it with other accounts before. It's like people get banned from Twitter all day and any social media. So you can play the devil's advocate and be like, they can ban whoever they want. But at the same token, if they're banning someone because of political or religious ideals or something that they've said or done that one person that is in a position of power over that company or has an authority over that company didn't like, and that's why they're banning it, that's when it becomes a little bit of an issue. Because then I
think it was more he was swaying people into believing certain things and not leading in a way where it's safe for people. Because most of the time, like you've seen the riot and all the things he says, he causes rage in people, and that was kind of his audience. His fans Absolutely. Were just like Looney Tunes.
I would say it's
but like he promotes that. That's the type of stuff.
Yeah, it's not always the. There's always going to be good. There's always going to be bad apples and good apples in a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think
you think he's gonna win if he runs again?
I think it's a tough choice. I think if things keep going along the way that they're going with the current presidency, perhaps.
Oh man, I just want the gas to go down. That's why I asked.
I think what it is there's too much controversy with this one. Like now with the Roe versus Wade decision going up, and how they've handled the Russia situation and how all that's played out. I think if they continue to go along that path, then possibly he would have that leeway and that entry to come back in and sway people back in his direction. But it just all depends on the political climate at the time. Yeah. You can never take how a political climate is at and project it forward 2 years.
Yeah, I just want to take the time to say this. It doesn't matter who's the president, who you vote for, who's in position of power. That should not dictate your life. People Absolutely use too much energy and time worrying about the wrong things. Like, that is not the reason you are fucked up. Like that is not the reason you excelling in life. It's because of two things. Either you're doing something to improve or not doing something that's causing you to stay stagnant, and then you hate your life and just looking at other people to blame for your pity party.
I'm going to be honest. in the last 10 years of my life that I've lived, I have never noticed. I would say even in the last 5 years of my life, when Trump was president and now when Biden's president, I have not been able to distinguish a single time when someone was president that affected my life day to day in any way. Like when Trump was president, I got up, I went to work, I had dinner, I went out with my friends. I like the guy. I think he's a good president. Biden, I get up.
You do the same shit.
I did. There's been no difference in my life aside from like maybe a global pandemic. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, that was weird. And we're not going to talk about that because we need this to stay online.
Yeah, let's not mention the C word.
I'm not trying to get banned.
The C word is off limits for this podcast.
Yeah. We can't even go down that route. Is there anything else you want to tell our audience? Is there any advice, any messaging, anything that you have going on that you want to express to our audience? I think we could do this all day, but he got to go. So we got to wrap it up. So
be yourself for you.
Tell him right there. Look at the camera.
Be yourself for you and don't change for anyone, because who you are right now, 10 years from now, you want to look back and think that person is a good person. If your 8-year-old self wouldn't be proud of where you are right now, change. And if your 35-year-old self looking back on you right now would think you're doing all right, then you're good to go. Be yourself for you and no one else.
I love that, man. Listen, it was a pleasure. I know This won't be the last time we'll do this. I wish you were staying longer. We could chop it up and, have fun, catch up and stuff like that, man. You're very wise for your age and you're making good choices. I'm glad that you left and now you're back with a different mindset. And you're going places, man. Keep pushing and follow your passion and your dreams, bro. Don't let that go.
Absolutely.
It's gonna kick your ass forever. That's something that was given to you. It's not for you. It's for the world. You got to put it out to the world.
I definitely have a passion for it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. You have my word. Within the next year,
they're gonna watch this. And this is something I'm gonna post a year from now.
A year from now, someone's gonna be knocking on my window, holding up. It's 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, "Who are you?" And they're gonna be like, "Did you have the fight yet? Did you do it?" And you're like, "Who are you? How did you get my address?"
Yeah,
I tracked.
That'll be dope. Even in a year from now, we can look at this and it'll be.
A year from now, we're gonna be doing our podcast, and my amateur fight is gonna be right there. We're playing it. KO, calling it right now. First round KO.
Yes, that's what I like to hear,
there
bro.
It is.
Where can people find you?
I have Instagram and I have Facebook. I will not accept your friend request on Facebook because I have a temperamental wife.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want people to share. You don't want people.
No, you guys can share my Instagram and everything like that.
What is your Instagram? Say it.
Instagram. Oh God.
You don't even know.
I have like underscores and stuff. I'm weird with it.
Make it easy, simple for the people to follow.
It's just look up Serj, Serj, and then just like put a bunch of underslashes until you see a guy with his wife right holding next to him, and then Isaac Serjak on Facebook, Serjak. Follow me.
Don't send him a follow.
Don't send me a friend request. I will deny it, or I'll be like one of those people that just never does anything with it. And when you look at my profile, it says followed by 40
How many
people.
requests you got on your friend requests? I probably got like maybe 500, 600.
Let me look. I'm on TikTok.
Are you using that stuff?
Yeah,
or
that's me.
Entertainment. That's good, bro.
Yeah, Serj on TikTok, other way around though, a bunch of underscores, and then Serj. Facebook though, how many requests do I have?
You got tatted up and everything, dog.
Tatted up and everything.
Whole change, man. But yeah, we gotta close out. You taking too long. I'll just put it in the description. Thank you guys for watching. We out of here. Peace.